Yuqinun is one of the Quranic terms that is repeated 11 times in 8 different surahs of the Quran. It is one of the names by which God addresses the faithful in the Quran. It is significant because understanding Yuqinun helps in better comprehending what it means to be a mu'min and the characteristics of a true Muslim. Yuqinun stems from the root word Yaqin, which means being convinced through knowledge and understanding. In the Misbah al-Munir dictionary, the meaning of Yaqin is described as knowledge acquired through reasoning and investigation. Therefore, God's knowledge is not termed Yaqin. In Majma' al-Bahrain, it says that Yaqin is the type of knowledge that comes with certainty. It is further stated that not all knowledge is Yaqin, but all Yaqin is knowledge, implying that Yaqin is knowledge obtained after reasoning and consideration. In dictionaries, Yaqin is a type of knowledge that has 2 main conditions. First, it is acquired through reasoning and understanding, and second, there is certainty in it. Any knowledge that a person gains without personal investigation and curiosity and merely accepts based on what others say cannot be considered Yaqin. Only when a person tests that knowledge and investigates its true meaning can it become Yaqin. A person must reach complete certainty about the truth or falsehood of that knowledge for it to turn into Yaqin. For example, when you are sitting in your room and hear a sound from the kitchen, you guess that someone is there. But this knowledge is merely a suspicion. Only when you get up and go to the kitchen to confirm or deny that guess does your knowledge turn into Yaqin. In the kitchen, by seeing or not seeing someone, your knowledge becomes certain. That is when your guess turns into Yaqin. Your knowledge now has the 2 conditions of investigation and certainty, turning into Yaqin. The reality is that many of our beliefs, which we might even think we are certain about, are like sounds we have only heard. They need to be investigated and tested through knowledge so that they can turn into Yaqin and make us part of the Yuqinun. Achieving Yaqin requires unbiased investigation, exploring all available knowledge, and not merely relying on what others have said or sticking to centuries-old traditions without question. A true seeker of knowledge dives into the sea of knowledge and searches for Yaqin through finding the true meaning of everything. This effort and pursuit of knowledge might even be the reason for the command to seek Yaqin, not just the knowledge itself. The process of seeking knowledge has value and significance. Now let's reflect again on the Quran. In Surah Al-Jathiyah, Ayah 20, God says, "This Quran is a source of insight for mankind and guidance and mercy for those who are convinced with knowledge and understanding." In this verse, God considers the Quran as guidance only for those who investigate and reflect and who reach Yaqin through thought and reasoning. This meaning aligns with many other verses of the Quran that invite people to think and reflect on the Quran and all creation. Another example of such verses is found in Surah Al-Anfal, Ayah 22, where God describes the worst creatures as those who do not speak, listen, or reason. Therefore, to be a true Muslim and believer, one must be among the people of Yaqin. To achieve Yaqin, one must seek knowledge and transform one's beliefs into certainty. Simply believing in something does not equate to having Yaqin. Only the alchemy of knowledge and understanding, investigation and contemplation can turn that belief into valuable Yaqin, as mentioned in the Quran. The Yuqnun are those who, through knowledge and understanding, have turned their belief into certainty, which brings them peace. To continue, we will explore another Quranic term, Sabirin. Similar to Yuqinun, Sabirin is one of the names by which God addresses mu'min, the believers, in the Quran. Sabr, or patience, is one of the actions that God repeatedly calls upon the believers to practice in several verses of the Quran. For example, in verse 153 of Surah Al-Baqarah, it states, "O you who have believed, seek help through patience and prayer. Indeed, Allah is with the patient." Al-Baqarah 2.153. In this session, we aim to examine what the true meaning of sabr, or patience, is from the perspective of the Quran. In Arabic, the word sabr, patience, linguistically means to restrain or restrict, and some define it as holding oneself back from expressing impatience and restlessness. A sabir, patient person, is someone who can endure hardships, difficulties, and forces that attempt to harm them physically, mentally, or emotionally. There are two interpretations of the meaning of patience. First, patience from the perspective of the general public. And second, patience from a semantic and Quranic perspective. Patience from the viewpoint of the general public refers to the apparent endurance of difficulties. In this form of patience, often the internal struggles of discomfort and suffering remain within the person as feelings and thoughts, but the individual's outward appearance and actions seem content. This type of patience typically involves suppressing emotions like sadness, stress, despair, anger, and frustration without actually eliminating them internally. Such patience, which is very common, can have significant negative health effects, potentially leading to various physical and psychological illnesses over time. For instance, one of the harmful effects of this type of patience is the production of cortisol, known as the stress hormone. This hormone is produced in large quantities during such times and weakens the immune system, which is a precursor to many diseases and physical ailments. Considering the lexical meaning of Islam, which is entering into peace and health, such patience, due to the severe harm it inflicts on a person's body and mind, is not a virtue but is regarded as a great sin. For example, imagine a person facing financial difficulties or other daily challenges who appears calm and in control on the outside. However, internally, he repeatedly dwells on past events and, with a pessimistic outlook on future incidents, constantly intensifies his stress and fear, harming himself mentally and physically. This state is not true patience, because while the individual may seem calm on the surface and bear the difficulties internally, he is damaging his soul, mind, and body, which contradicts the true meaning of Islam. So, what is true patience according to the Quran? True patience from the Quranic perspective is maintaining inner peace, joy, and hope in the face of any difficulty and tension, as referenced in the meaning of mu'min, believer in peace. In reality, a truly patient person is one who, when confronted with challenges and hardships, puts forth their utmost effort without becoming internally disturbed. They make decisions and take actions with a calm, happy, confident, hopeful, and determined spirit. The only thing they focus on is doing what is right and not falling short in their efforts. They know that the outcome of all their actions depends on God's will. There is no power and no strength except with Allah. They understand that in this world, humans are only tasked with striving and making efforts, even if the results are different from their desires. They are content with God's will regarding the outcomes of their righteous actions, not just in words, but in a truly heartfelt and real sense. The sign of true contentment is none other than inner peace and joy. This inner peace and joy do not prevent them from making the right decisions. They forgive when necessary, show mercy, and smile where appropriate. But when needed, they show anger, stand firm, act decisively, and behave with strength. Yet in all these actions, they maintain an inner state of peace, happiness, and contentment with God's will. Problems do not break them, nor do they take away their inner joy and calm or cause them stress.